Florida State football fans need to stop doing a few things immediately, and they really need to stop caring and worrying about these things ASAP. And we're going to get into all 5 of them. This is a different video than we've done, but it just seems kind of insufferable at this moment in the Florida State world. And we've complained after all 3 weeks somehow, even after the 21-point beatdown of LSU and scoring 66 against Southern Miss. It still seems to just kind of be weird. Now, I understand the BC game was what it was, and we'll get to that in just a moment, but maybe take just a quick chill pill or a Gramco gummy or something, and let's calm it down just a bit. All right, first thing that Florida State fans need to stop caring about immediately is rankings in September. They just do not matter. I probably got 20 messages, both text, DM, Discord, a couple of calls about where do you think Florida State falls in the rankings after the game against BC. And my answer to every single one of them was exactly the same. I do not care. I don't care at all. It just doesn't matter. It matters not. It's a ranking in September from sports writers who are very, very biased and coaches who don't even watch the games. The coaches poll is the most worthless poll of all time, and nothing really matters until November-ish, late November, when the college football playoff rankings start to happen. But even so, if Florida State would have lost to BC or beat BC close like they did and fallen to 10th, who cares? It doesn't impact anything. You guys talk all the time about preseason rankings don't matter and, are we this, that, and then we're worried about where we might be ranked after a close win. Florida State had a free fall in the rankings this week, going from 3rd to 4th. Obviously, sarcasm there is heavy, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal. Folks were saying we would drop to 8th, 9th, 10th. No. Why? Because you won a game close? Silly. And even if we had, it just doesn't matter. Next up, after rankings, what do FSU fans need to stop caring about? Now, this one's going to cut deep for some of you guys, but the opinions of your rivals. Those opinions are utterly meaningless. They have no space, no breadth, no angle to talk at right now. I understand both of your rivals just beat SEC teams the last couple of weeks, and they are high on life. But can we remind you where they're coming from? Florida State coming off a 10-win season. Miami just beat a team that's 1-8 in their last 9 Power 5 games. Florida just beat a team that was losing to Austin Peay just before halftime. Florida has 1 win in their last 6 matchups against Power 5 opponents. They're still not good teams, guys. Tennessee is terrible. Tennessee should not be ranked. It is funny that they're ranked ahead of UF, though. Texas A&M is terrible. There is no way that you should care what your rivals are saying after Florida State beat LSU, won 10 games, beat LSU again this year, smacked both of them by putting almost 50 points up on both of them, and then them having lucky games against 2 bad SEC teams. I know that we all think that the SEC is amazing and great, and oh my goodness, it's the SEC, but neither one of those wins were impressive. Next up, after rivals' opinions, this is a big one. Excuses. You should not care about excuses. I've heard about the flu. I've heard about the red bandana. I've heard about travel. I've heard about a hurricane. I've heard about this, that, a mobile quarterback. Doesn't matter. Excuses don't matter. Excuses are for losers. I love what the South Florida coach said after they played USF played Alabama really, really well. It was a 10-3 game. Alabama scores very late to make it 17-3, and that was your final. By all accounts, if you'd have told me that Alabama was only going to score 10 points going into the final minute of the game, you probably think that USF would have a chance to win, and they did. Defensively, they played really, really well. But I loved what he said. USF probably played the game of their lives, keeping it close against Alabama, and he said, we don't have moral victories. That's for losers. Well, guess what? Excuses are for losers. Did sickness impact the team? Did the red bandana impact the team? Did the possible hurricane hit it? Maybe. But who cares? Stop with that crap. You sound like Gator fans when you make excuses for playing poorly. You played like crap. Nobody cares. You move on. You won the game. You fell in the rankings by 1 in one poll. You stayed the same in the other poll, again, because the coaches don't watch games. But who cares? Excuses. Nobody cares. Remember when you were a kid and they'd say, don't be a sore winner or a sore loser. Making excuses for poor performances? No, just go out and play better. The team doesn't want any excuses. I guarantee the team's not out here saying, oh, we were sick. Oh, we had to go up against the red bandana again. Oh, we were worried about the hurricane. The team's not doing any of that. Shut up. Nobody cares. Now, most of this is not to you guys. I know you guys would never do any of that. But it's to the other fans that are out there. My subscribers would never make excuses. But who cares, man? That's so dumb. I want to get to the next one here in just a minute, but before I do, I want to give my buddy Alex Knapp some love. Alex has been a proud supporter of this program for a couple of months now. He owns Knapp Accident and Injury, which is a law firm. They specialize in car accidents, Uber and Lyft accidents, any kind of personal injury that you have. If you're hurt, give them a call. Alex does a great job. He's a diehard Seminole fan. We were texting the other day through the game, 813-568-3724. The best part is that you get to deal with him directly. You're not working with a paralegal or some kind of a case manager. He gives every one of his clients his cell phone number. Give Alex a call today. Great guy, diehard Seminole. You'll get to talk some FSU football with him. If you're hurt or know somebody that's hurt in an accident or has been injured, make sure that Knapp Accident and Injury is their law firm. They're some of our favorite partners. We really do enjoy working with them and the support they provide this channel. Let my guy Alex take care of you. Okay, number 4. Let's get back to it. You should stop caring about ugly wins. You should stop caring about it. Winning ugly is one of the funniest things that I've ever heard. And I think it's part of our culture. I think it's part of just the way that college football works now and the way that Vegas and odds and prize picks and FanDuel and all of these different... I think that ESPN's had a hand in it with game control back in the day. I know you guys remember that from 2014. But who cares about winning ugly? If I was to tell you that Florida State was going to win every game for the rest of the year and it was going to be ugly doing it, some of you would be absolutely miserable. If I was to tell you that, hey, they're going to beat Clemson 13-6 and both teams are going to look like total dog crap, are you upset with that? If I tell you that they're going to beat Florida 13-12, you going to be upset with that? If I tell you they beat Miami 7-3, you going to be upset with that? If I tell you they go to the ACC championship and they win that game 10-3, you're going to be upset with that? If I tell you they play a sloppy game against a team they're better than in the first round of the playoff, but they win, you're going to be upset with that? You remember that Patriots-Rams Super Bowl a couple years ago where the game was absolutely atrocious? I think the final score was like 10-3 or something. It was awful. Did they do people look at that Super Bowl ring on Brady's finger a little bit differently than the others? So we go to the national championship game and we win an ugly game. We have 4 turnovers and still find a way to... You guys upset with that? You won the game. And I get it. You could have played better. We broke it down. I went on a 45-minute rant live after the game. But we are 2 days removed from that. It is time to move on. Ugly wins. What even is that? I saw some of the former players tweeting, a wise man told me there is no such thing as an ugly win. Obviously referencing Coach Bowden and his thoughts. When you go in conference and you go on the road and you find a way to win, was it ugly? Possibly. But being obsessed with that, it just seems like too much. Stop caring about ugly wins. Stop caring about people saying, oh, they won, but they didn't look very good. Did you watch any college football on Saturday? Did you watch the rest of the country? Did you watch UGA down against South Carolina as a 3+ touchdown favorite? Did you watch Alabama against USF? Did you watch Texas against Wyoming? Did you watch Colorado against Colorado State? Did you watch number 11 Tennessee against god-awful Florida? Bad games happen. And Saturday was a weird day where a lot of bad games and a lot of weird things happen. But you won. You got out relatively healthy. We'll see about JT. And you move on. I don't care about ugly wins, and you shouldn't either. Last one, number 5. This one's probably the most important. I think we saved the best for last on this one. You need to stop worrying about the team's performance going forward. There was never a time during the game or in the 45 hours since then that I've been worried about this team and their performance going forward at all. There was never a time where I thought, oh man, this team isn't what I thought they were. Oh man, this team isn't going to compete. Oh man, this team is not going to be at the top level that we need them to be at. I was never worried about the Clemson game. I was never worried about any of our rivals. I'm not worried about anybody else on the schedule. Now, Florida State plays like they did on Saturday against probably 5 or 6 teams on their schedule. They're probably going to lose that game. They play like they did Saturday against Clemson, Miami, Florida, Wake, Pittsburgh, Duke. I mean, they could lose any of those games. I think you're going to beat Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Northern Alabama. I think you're going to beat all those teams pretty handily. But if you play like dog crap, yeah, you could lose any of those other games. Do I think Florida State's going to play like that again? Probably not. Got a video coming out a little bit later about the 17 minutes that Florida State really, really broke down and didn't play well. But I'm not worried about this team's performance going forward. It's not an excuse, but yeah, if they're struggling with some stuff and you played poorly for a little over a quarter, bad things can happen. I expect the team to rebound. I expect coaching to be better. I don't think Mike Norvell was on his A game this weekend. I don't think Jordan Travis was on his A game this weekend. I think you were missing some guys. You had some other guys get banged up during the game. Lost your quarterback for a drive. He wasn't as mobile after his injury. Again, not excuses, but just I'm not worried about them going forward. I think that when they've lost, when they've played poorly, when they've come out and stunk it up, they've actually come out in the next game and done really, really well. Where I've always worried about the Noles is after big wins or after emotional close losses, like the Jacksonville State game after the Notre Dame close loss. But I've never worried about the Noles after a loss. I've never thought they put bad performances together over and over again. In fact, it's evidenced. Last year against Wake Forest, you played a stinker, and you came out and you started really good against NC State. Now, you wavered late in the game, but I don't think it was a symptom of the fact you lost to Wake. You didn't put 2 bad performances together. You started that NC State game really good, and then your meltdowns at the end is what cost you. And then against Clemson, you started the Clemson game after losing to NC State really, really good. You just couldn't sustain it. You just couldn't keep it going. You had some meltdowns there in the middle of the game. But it wasn't a product of playing poorly and letting that carry over. I don't worry at all about Florida State's start against Clemson. I just worry about them going out and executing. I just worry about our coaches putting our guys in the best possible position. And if they do that, we're going to win the game. But I don't worry about this team's performance going forward at all. If they play that poorly again, which I don't believe is possible, they're going to lose against most teams on the schedule. You probably get away with it against Virginia Tech or Syracuse. If they play that poorly again, they'll lose. I don't expect that again. It would be very uncharacteristic of a Mike Norvell coach team to let that happen twice. Mike Norvell does a really good job of coaching these guys up, getting them to change mindsets, to change the way that they focus, to change the way that they perform after a bad game. So I don't worry about this team's mindset, their performance at all going forward. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments. Different video. Sorry for preaching at you. I've just seen too much of it. I've seen too much crap. I've seen too much negativity. This is Florida State. Got to get off that. You still have the best win in the country. You are the only team you beat the highest ranked one-loss team. LSU looked really good yesterday. Or I'm sorry, on Saturday. It's going to get better. It sucked on Saturday. I get it. But you'll see this weekend. It's going to get better. Thank you guys for watching. YouTube thinks you should check this video out right here. So if you haven't, go do it.